Hello and welcome to Jolineknitsalot. This is my show about knitting and crafting and the things I get up to here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It is that really cozy and quiet time between Christmas and New Year's where you don't really know what day it is or what's happening. You just kind of go with the flow and enjoy yourself. I have had a lovely week of visiting with friends and family, and I hope that the last week or two has been whatever it is you need them to be, whether that is getting together with your loved ones or spending some time with yourself and having some quiet time just for you. Either way, I hope that whatever you've been up to has filled you up and you're feeling as rested and restored as I am. I have been I was thinking about this last night, and this holiday season for me, I don't know if it was because I've spent a lot of time getting ready for the holidays, but I found that I've been really appreciative of my family this holiday season, whether if they're like being thoughtful and considerate of me or looking after me in different ways. And also I am very grateful for my family that I could give them gifts at Christmas that either surprised them or made them delighted or whatever it was. It's just been a really nice time, and I think, taken the time to be aware of what's happening. Sometimes holidays are so busy that you don't have time to stop and see what's going on around you. And so I'm grateful that this year I've had the opportunity to pause and be grateful. And I hope that you have too. Blue has gone on lots of dog walks. He got a very large stick for Christmas, so he was delighted. And he also got some really loud squeaky toys, which are annoying for the rest of us, but he just loves. So he has had a very good holiday season as well. Not only that, but he has been the sort of center of attention for lots of family gatherings. So he has gotten a lot of positive reinforcement. So he's had a very good holiday season. Why don't I share with you some of the things that I finished up before Christmas? And as usual, I forgot my sock blockers, so hold that thought. I'm kind of excited that this, I think, is the end of socks. Not the end of socks, but sock knitting is going to slow down here at Jolineknitsalot, and I'm kind of okay with that. I'm still excited about the Colorbook Cuff Club by Summer Lee that has been coming out every month, but I'm ready to try and knit some other things. Also, I'm going to be honest with you, I have a stockpile of socks, which I'm going to share with you a little later, but nobody in this house is going to be lacking for socks for the foreseeable future, except for maybe Blue. I've not figured out how to make socks for a corgi yet. If you have ideas, leave them in the comments below, but I can't see him wearing socks and having them stay on his feet. The first pair of socks I finished, or maybe one of the pairs of socks I finished, was this pair of work socks for my younger daughter. She's a big fan of the work sock, and this year her socks have this bright pink stripe. I just knit these in stocking stitch with a heel flap and gusset and a simple toe. In the ribbing, when I did the color stripe, I knit the first round of the new color so that I didn't get that little jog that you can sometimes get when you have knits and purls. So the first round is plain knitting, and then I switched back to knit 2 purl 1. Knit 2 purl 2 for this pair of socks? Yes. No, 1. I did a knit 2 purl 1. Who knew? And then when I switched back to the white, I did the same thing. I knit the first round and then I switched back to my ribbing. And you can do that with whatever ribbing you're using, whether that's knit 1, purl 1, knit 2, whatever. Anything with knits and purls in it. If you knit the first round, you get a little bit of a cleaner stripe. I used some B-shaped Boosh sock yarn, which was new to me, and it does feel a little bit thinner when I was knitting it. And if you remember, it's kind of 2 strands of very thin yarn, very, very loosely plied. It makes a really pretty like work sock, this sort of marled effect. So they look very nice. This is actually a navy and white, if you can't tell on the camera. And it'll be interesting to see how they wear, because I do find that the sections that were knit in the West Yorkshire Spinners, which is my contrast color, do feel a little bit thicker. So, so I find that this Bichet Bouche sock yarn is a little thinner. We'll see how it wears. But Lily isn't too, my younger daughter, is not too hard on her socks. So they should be just fine. And so that was one pair of socks off my needles. I finished my December stripy socks. These ones I was taking my time with. And it's the last of my self-imposed sock club. Not self-imposed, but the end of last year I put together a little sock club for myself, where I took a skein of yarn and put it in a bag for each month. Then each month I would pull out a skein and knit a pair of socks. Most of them were sport weight socks. And this is the last of those sport weight socks from my club. I think this is called Frost on the Chicken Coop. Something like that. It is a sock set by Knitspin Farm, and I have been loving using their Targhee Sport base. It's beautiful. It's cozy to wear. It's a nice hardy base. I knit these using 2.75 millimeter needles, which is what I use when I knit sport weight socks, on 56 stitches, and it comes with a contrast heel or contrast color that I used for the toes and the heels. These to me are very vintage Christmas, and I think they're just going to go in the gift box of socks, which will be well stocked, believe you me. And these were nice to have on the needles. Sometimes you just need some plain stockinette knitting, and that's what these were for me in the month of December. But it's nice to put them away now. And finally, I finished my Woolens and Nosh Advent socks. This was an Advent sock set that I received. Well, I say Advent. It is called, I think it's called an Advent. This is the bag that it came in. It is called an Advent, but the dyer suggests that they're not particularly Christmas specific colors, and you could start them anytime you wanted. It's just a 24 stripe sock. Again, it came in this really, sorry, I'm getting them on my sock blockers. It comes in this very sweet little bag, and what happens is you've got two balls of yarn in there, each one coming out with just the black. And so all you see from day to day is the black yarn, and then as you knit, you get to discover what stripe you're on. So every day it's a little bit of a surprise coming out of this lovely canvas bag. I love the idea of this, and I think it's such a delightful way to knit up an Advent calendar. So these are my socks. And the way that this calendar worked this year, the dyer, for obvious reasons, there's so much work and attention that goes into these Advents with 24 stripes. And this one even more so with the contrast color stripe in between each one. I can't imagine how much work it is to dye these. And so each little bag comes with the yarn in it, but you've got more than 24 stripes, and different balls started on a different stripe. So some people started where I did, some people maybe started here, some people maybe started up here. So all of the socks look slightly different, but I do have a little bit left in my bag. So I was very good not to peek until I was finished my socks, but as you can see, I have a couple of little odds and ends left. And I think what I'm going to do with those is just knit up a couple of little coffee sleeves, because I think that's a good use of that little bit of yarn. And I loved it. I think I will be looking for the Woolens and Nosh Advent calendar next year too, because it was just such a lovely surprise every day. I had no idea what the next stripe was going to be. I realized pretty early on in knitting these socks that they were going to be quite tall. I had knit only 9 stripes on the foot before I got to where I needed to put the heel. I did knit these toe up, which is unusual for me, but I can adapt. So I started with a Turkish cast on, and I did a toe up toe, And then I started with the stripes. And when I got to the 9th stripe, I realized it was time for the heel and it was going to be a very long sock. 15 stripes for the leg. So I did some digging. I have this book in my library called Custom Socks Knit to Fit Your Feet. And this is a book by Kate Atherley. She is a Canadian author, very knowledgeable about a lot of things, one of those things being socks. And part of the reason why I purchased this book is that she has a lot of information in it about how to adjust for different toe shaping, but equally she's a whole chapter on what to do with different sized ankles and knee socks. So she's got a whole section here on knee socks and how to measure your foot and where to make adjustments for a taller sock. Because for most people, when you get past your ankle, your calf widens to some degree. So as I was knitting this, I sort of was measuring it to my leg. This was completely not scientific because I didn't think that this sock would be long enough to need all of the adjustments. It wasn't going to go all the way up to my knee. Although I guess with all the extra stripes, I could have made it go all the way up to my knee. But that did not occur to me at the time. So as I was knitting, I was sort of measuring where my calf started to get wider. And you can see, I'll show you on this sock maybe, you can see when I got to about this hot pink stripe here, I started to add a stitch on each side. So this side and the same on this side. I added 2 stitches per round. So I added 2 stitches and then I knit 3 rounds. So it was like a 4-round repeat. So increase 1 and then knit 3 rounds plain. And I did that 4 times, which added a total of 8 stitches. So I started out with 64 stitches for the body of my sock. And over this few rows up here, I added another 8 stitches. So by the time I got to the top of my sock, I had 72, I can do math, 72 stitches. And that I thought would be enough. And actually I was just fine. So I knit the last stripe. I knit some 1x1 ribbing at the top of my sock. And then I did an Italian sewn bind off. Now, I have not done that on a pair of socks before. I don't know why. It is one of my favorite bind offs, and I don't know why it never occurred to me to use on the top of a toe-up sock. But there you go, I did it. I think they look really nice. They've got a lot of, they've got stretch, but that Italian sewn bind off does provide a little bit of stability. And they fit really well. So they sort of, I will insert a picture here of how they fit. They're lovely. I love all the colors. My favorite section is up here. All of this is, I just love it. And I find that I wear my Advent socks from previous years all year round. I wear them probably the most. In fact, I've worn out some of my Advent socks from previous years. And so I'm really happy to add these to my sock drawer. They're going to skip the sock box and go straight to immediate wear, just like some of my other socks have done. Most notably the Halloween socks with the little ghosts and my Christmas socks with the houses and the trees have been getting a lot of action lately. I have one last project off of my needles, and this was a cast on, I think I talked to you a little bit about last time. I decided to knit a hipster hat for my husband. I was going to make it for his birthday, but we're going to a party for his work, and we were all sort of put our names in a hat to give like a Secret Santa gift, and I got his name. Of course I did. So I made him a hipster hat, which I think he'll like. I used some yarn. Did I keep the tag? No. This yarn is no longer available. It isn't called Eden, and it was from River City Yarns when it was still here in Edmonton. And it has a little bit of cashmere as well as merino in it. And this is the hipster hat I made for him. I made him the largest size, and I think the last time I knit this, we talked a little bit about the pattern. The pattern comes with 2 different stitch counts for 4 different size hats. So the 2 smaller hats use 1 stitch count, and the 2 larger hats call for 1 stitch count. The difference between the sizes is how long you knit the hat. So this hat is the biggest one, and it's knit the longest. So I knit the body for 10 3/4 inches before doing the decreases. And the decreases really did not take up much of the hat at all. It is, as I learned the first time I knit this hat, an incredibly stretchy hat because of all the 2x2 rib. And so I'm not at all worried about this fitting his head. And the extra length, I mean, it's a long hat. But when you fold it up and then stretch it out, it does shrink up a bit. And I think it'll be nice and cozy for him for walking a dog. Hello, Blue. This winter time. So this is another Hipster hat off my needles. It's a super easy pattern. It's just knit 2, purl 2 for a long time, and then you do some decreases. The decreases look lovely. Each time I've knit this hat, which is really only twice, I wonder if maybe she could have done the decreases slightly differently. But it's such a small portion of the hat, it doesn't really bother me that much. And that's it, it's off the needles. And that is all the things I have finished, and I'm only working on one thing. I think it's this slow time of year. I'm sort of working on small things and easy, sort of small gratifying knits, or maybe that finish up quickly after working on a bunch of gifts prior to Christmas. So yes, only yesterday I cast on this hat. This is the plump hat. It is a hat by Andrew Mowry, knit using some bulky weight yarn. And on Boxing Day, I had taken advantage of the mystery bag sale at Spin Cycle, where you would get 5 seconds or off, I guess, like not 100% beautiful skeins. I've got their mystery bags before, where you get seconds, and the yarn is still lovely to work with. And so I ordered a mystery bag, not knowing what base I would get or what colors I would get. And I was really happy with what I got, because I got Plump, which is a base I have not used before. So that was fun. And I got 3 skeins of one color and 2 skeins of another, which was perfect for working up Andrea Mowry's new patterns. So I'm making myself a bulky hat. This is, it's a brioche hat in this bulky yarn. And I wasn't exactly sure how these 2 yarns would play together when it comes to brioche, but I think it's a lot of fun. I have this, which I think is Afternoon Delight. I have 2 more skeins of that one. Sorry, Blue's just chewing on his big holiday stick, and we're just gonna have to put up with him because at least he's not barking. The other color I have is Castaway, and it looks like this, which I find a little bit ironic as I'm knitting it, because the blue and the orange are very much Edmonton Oilers colors, which is our hockey team. So I find that a little bit funny. But the hat is coming along obviously really well. I mean, it's 56 stitches for my head size, and I'm just knitting a bunch of brioche until I get to the decreases at the top. So it's quick progress, and it's fun. Let me show you the inside of the hat. These 2 color brioche hats are reversible, and this is what it looks with the other color out. I do plan on knitting the matching cowl, since I have all of the yarn I think I need for that in my one little mystery kit. So I think that's going to be my sort of palette cleansing knitting after all of the socks and all of the things. It's nice just to do a kind of quick and satisfying knit for myself. So the plump hat and cowl will be what I'm working on, I think, in the next few days, just as I sort of figure out what it is I want to work on in the new year. Today, I forgot to tell you, I'm wearing my midsummer tee. This is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks, and it is knit in some Durham Natura Ulysse held double, which is a sport weight held double. And I always forget how cozy this little piece is until I throw it on. And we've been enjoying some sort of milder winter weather, but it is nice to be just cozy in your own home, isn't it? So if you're looking for sort of a vesty piece or a layering piece, I mean, I've worn this tee on its own and it's delightful, but layered on top of a t-shirt for a cozy winter day, it can't be beat. I did get a couple of lovely Christmas gifts that I thought I'd share with you, because probably I'll be starting these sometime in the new year. My daughter gave me this lovely little embroidery kit. It's called Tea Party, and Naked and Frayed is a local Edmonton embroidery designer. She does a whole lot of sort of local landmarks. So you can get kits to make the Walterdale Bridge, which is sort of a new and sort of iconic bridge, I guess, in Edmonton. I have that kit up in my stash. Also local prominent movie theaters and a couple of bars, just different. There's the Moutart Conservatories, which are 3 pyramids, which are big greenhouses that you can go and visit, and they have different sort of environments in there, different plants and stuff. But I got this little tea party, and this will be a nice little reminder that I know how to do embroidery, actually. The kit includes a lot of yarn and a little stamped hoop, so it's all ready for me to get started. And this will be a nice reintroduction to embroidery, which I don't do as much as cross stitch. So you look for this at some point in the new year. My husband got me the very last kit in the Murder Mystery series by Diana Waters. This is Saffron's Kitchen, and Saffron's Studio. I have not figured out what the clue in this one is. I have some ideas. I have not been able to put it together. We will see what happens. But this kit, which I have had in my stash, is going to be what's on my hoop. Is that what you say? That's what's going to be on my hoop next. This is Kiki's Kitchen, and there's definitely a bloody dish towel. Dun, dun, dun. Each of these kits includes a little card talking about this individual, whoever's room it is. So in this case, it's Kiki. So I hope to learn a little bit more about what's happening by reading the information sheets that come with the kits. And I think that this is what I'm going to be starting maybe next week, when I have an afternoon where I can just pay attention. I'm going to need some time to focus on this a little bit. But I love some of the details that she includes, like this little calendar on the fridge, and there's some really pretty mugs. There's some cookbooks. It's just a really well thought out design, I think, and it'll be fun to get started on this. What are you getting ready to start in the new year? Do you have some plans? I hope to be coming back to you in the next little while with a review of all of my Summerlee socks that I knit last year, or as many as I can round up. And hold on to your hats, because there's a few of them. So I'm going to be coming back with my year in Summerlee socks in the near future. But also I look forward to just starting out and working on some different projects. A little bit of brioche, a little bit of cross stitch, and possibly a new sweater cast on that I will share with you once it's on my needles. I hope in the next couple of weeks you get to start something new or do something that you really like to do, whatever that is. I know I plan on knitting a lot. Take care, and I will see you soon. Bye.